Thanks to the support as a channel member, Dallas Orion. Oh, this one is a big, important, scary transfer window because we must put together a team capable of winning the Champions League. I think we're nearly there. There's maybe one or two missing pieces of the puzzle to get us to go all the way. And of course, while this is going on, we're very much going to be keeping one eye on what's going on with Preston. And if that job becomes available, they're going to have a decision to make. Hello and welcome to Club 5, part 18 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, it is our season review and transfer special at the end of our second season with Juventus, which, as you can see, ended with 2 trophies, a Serie A and a Coppa Italia. Not the big one, though. We do want that Champions League win with Juventus before we move on. So let's have a look at the season review. And as you can expect, signing of the season, William Bilger. How could it be anyone else? Only costing £43 million, which seems like the bargain of the century for a player who's almost guaranteed to go on and win a Ballon d'Or. He's still only 19 years old. 7 goals in 9 caps for Belgium, and he's come into this Juventus team where he's played out of position on the right wing all year and got 40 goal contributions in 52 appearances, 7.44 as an average rating. He is an absolute superstar. There were some other good signings as well. More squad players, the rest of them, the likes of Amgar, who I would like to sign permanently if we can find a way to get the money together this summer. Owning, I think, will become very useful for us. Valente will now be joining permanently after playing enough games following his loan from Spurs. Lazrak, another very useful squad player as an elite striker for us. Orbeck didn't really work out, but Sotalo has been great, even though he's 34. Gratakos, still only 23, is only going to get better. Mansoreja. Basically, it was a very good summer last year. If we can do another one like that, we will win the Champions League. We were supposed to win the league. We did. We won it easily. Vlahovic scoring 36 goals again. The man is a ridiculous machine. Finances-wise, somehow some of these have dropped, which I don't really understand because we were in the Champions League this year. The previous year, we weren't in the Champions League. I guess getting through to the final of the Europa League is worth more than getting knocked out in the first knockout round of the Champions League because sponsorships were down, broadcast revenue down, corporate and hospitality is down, prize money up. I guess that's the difference the Champions League makes over the Europa League, but still not completely fixed financially. Vlahovic sells more shirts than anybody, as you would expect, although Bilger surely is going to take over sooner rather than later, and that is your team of the season, and I really can't argue with any part of that. That looks, I mean, we haven't played wing play ever, but that aside, I can't argue with any of the team selections. Player accolade-wise, Vlahovic won Player of the Year, Bilger Young Player of the Year, and signing of the season, as we know. A retiring Locatelli got Goal of the Season. Vlahovic top scorer with 43. Szoboszlai at 33 got 23 assists. We've still got some of these older players around. Bremer at 37, Szoboszlai at 33, Vlahovic 34, Locatelli's retiring at 36. So there is still rebuilding to be done, but we are definitely moving in the right direction. And Dusan Vlahovic has now scored 300 goals for us in the league and is the all-time top league goal scorer for Juventus, which is a nice little thing for him to win as he starts to wind down. He's not close to winding down his career. There's your all-time best 11. No room in it for Bilger just yet, but seemingly only a matter of time before Bilger forces his way in. Supporter-wise, we've actually added some more social media followers. Very exciting. What? The board are very disappointed with Club Vision progress. Okay, we didn't grow the club's reputation. We did get them back in the Champions League and win the league twice in a row. The club's reputation has grown satisfactorily. That means we've failed. Brilliant. I mean, that's not a game glitch at all. Fantastic. So what the board are now... Oh, no, this is the review of last season's expectations, I guess. Is it? Or... No, this has got next year's as well. So they want me to continue signing players under the age of 23 for the first team. Easy peasy. Continue looking to... See, they're satisfied with growing the club's reputation here, even though we'd previously failed it. No idea what's going on. They want to minimise the longer-term contracts for the older men and really continue to freshen up and youngify this squad whilst working within the wage budget, which we all know I am an expert at. They want me to continue winning Serie A, work towards repairing the club's financial damage. Oh my word, we're overdrawn again. This football club is bonkers. And get to the latter stages of the Champions League. I don't understand how this club can be forever overdrawn. It's only a few weeks since I completely fixed all of the club's finances single-handedly, and now they're broken again. You know, I've not signed any players. I've not broken that. That is happening despite me, despite my best efforts to stop it from happening. Right, our pre-season tour. We're going to go to the USA, the most expensive option. I don't see that it's related. We are still within wage budget. We've not spent our... I don't understand. I don't understand. We've barely got any transfer debt because I've been behaving myself the whole time we're here. The only debt, really, is the massive loan the new owners took out, which clearly we can't afford to pay unless we get to the latter stages of the Champions League. This club is an absolute mess. Let's see what we can do. We have got some transfers already arranged. A couple of players coming in. We've already mentioned Valente is coming in. We've also got this guy, Federico Taglioli, who is just another option for us as the ball-winning midfielder, can play central midfield. We've started playing Boatini at the base of the midfield with a playmaker ahead of him, and with Locatelli retiring and Veloso dos Santos really settling into the team in central midfield. I figured another player in the mould of Boatini wouldn't go amiss. So Taglioli is that man. He can compete with Boatini for that role. He can play further forward if need be. He can also play centre back or right back. So lots of flexibility. He's only 23. He's already got one cap for Italy. Played regularly for Empoli last season, and we picked him up relatively cheaply. A £26 million deal for him. So those two boys are going to be coming in. Going out, there's a couple of fringe players, and we know, of course, Locatelli is retiring. We'll just check if we've got any clauses we can cash in. We've got... we'll take that money for sure. Can we take that money, please? Why do you always have to do that twice? And, I mean, we'll take 80 grand. We'll take anything we can get. So we've got... Where are we? We've got £25 million. I would like to sign Amgar permanently. I don't know that we're going to be able to because I played him up front in the last game of the season. There is an optional future fee of 29 million, but it's not 29 million flat. It's 29 million initially, and then other stuff. So if I try and offer 29 million, they just laugh at me. But they won't tell me what the other stuff is because I didn't arrange the deal. We took over the loan. He was at Real Madrid. We took over the loan. So when I say 24 million, they go, no, 74 million. Well, I know it's not 74 million because it says here, Amgar has a set-up transfer fee of 29 million plus additional clauses to an agreement in his loan deal. But we don't know what the additional clauses are. From what I can tell, there is nowhere that I can find out what the additional clauses are. So I can't offer him. I'm not paying 74 million for him, but I know we should be able to get him for 29 plus additional clauses. So I don't know that we're going to get him. We will keep trying, but it is a ridiculous... Again, this game's not broken. Oh, no. Wash your mouth out with soap. This game's not broken. I wonder if I ask my director of football to do it, which I have already done, and he didn't do it right either. But I'll ask again now the season is over. Let's see if my director of football can make an offer, and maybe we'll find out what the mystery add-ons are, because you would think, even if I'm not allowed to know, you would think my director of football would know. We've had our facilities downgraded. I imagine we don't have the money to improve that. We'll try. Sen is on the transfer list at Spurs. Oh, now that's interesting. 60 million. I mean, we don't need him. We've got Bilger. Why don't they need him? Is he just refusing to sign a contract extension? He's got 3 years left. What on earth is going on at Tottenham? He's their captain. And they've finished fourth, so he shouldn't be sulking about anything Premier League or Champions League wise. Hold on, it says there, why? The club do not believe he has a long-term future with them. He's their captain, a regular goal scorer for years. Well, that's a strange one. I mean, we can't afford him, but that's bonkers. Did Preston make it into... Preston did make it into the Champions League. I really think it's time for Stephen Ferguson to move on to a really big club. Please and thank you. Right, let's hit continue, actually. Once or twice more, just to see if my director of football makes an offer for Amgar. He might be waiting for the window to open, so we might have to wait a little while. So I think what we'll do is we'll jump forward in time and then figure out what we're going to do from there. First, let's just double check what we've got going on here in the squad view. I mean, the squad itself is pretty much where I want it to be. It's very interesting that Vlahovic isn't even in the top 3 for strikers now. According to his star rating, Amgar is actually considered a better striker than he is, even though I can't imagine consistently playing Amgar as a striker. Like I say, we did play him there on the last day of the season just to see what he's like. But he is very flexible and useful. But we've got that decent squad depth everywhere. Obviously, Agostini, Boatini, Taglioli, the new boy coming in there. Taglioli can also play in that right-back position. We've got decent strengthening depth throughout the team. Marvin Benoit comes back to compete with Seco to be our starting goalkeeper. We've got lots of depth in the wide areas. There are positions where our players are getting a little older. Obviously, Szoboszlai, Baturina are both getting on a bit. They're players that we'd perhaps be looking to move on. And it's centre-back, the likes of Sutalo. We've still got Bremer at the club. But then we've got youngsters like Kolarich coming through, so we don't really need to worry. Bremer can just leave and Kolarich can take his squad spot. Obviously, Taglioli can play at the back as well now. So I think the squad is pretty much there. They just all needed to be a year older. So we'll see if we can get Amgar. If we can't, we'll have a little bit of money to spend, and probably we'll need to spend it on a left-back, although Mansoray is now a natural left-back, so we can just consider him a natural left-back now. But obviously, if he's playing left-back, that's another option at centre-back that we don't have. And then with Bremer, presumably, and he's got a year left on his contract. He's not retiring either. We're going to have Bremer for another year. We shouldn't really be using him, though. But if Mansoray is now a left-back, we've only really got Valente, Sotalo, Taglioli, and Kolarich at centre-back. So there's an argument if we don't get Amgar, we probably need to get a left-back or centre-back in his place. But the squad is pretty much there. Let's wait and see what happens. All right, we have found a way to fund the move for Amgar. Martin Baturina, who had told me that he was going to let his contract run down. He was out of contract at the end of next season, had already told me he was considering his options. And at 31, we were running out of time to cash in on him. We got an offer from Arsenal. So he's gone to Arsenal for £37.5 million. The fans are unhappy that we've sold him, but if they actually understood the thought process there, it makes a lot of sense to let him go now, cash in on him now, rather than letting him leave for free next summer. And he never stays at clubs longer than 3 years anyway. So he'd done his time. He's moved on. So that's brought in £37.5 million. We're also looking at selling Jesper Orbeck, who we signed last summer, or then never really used. He came in for £29.5 million from Porto. We've had a couple of offers in for him. Most notably Barcelona at 25 million, where he wants to go. Hertha Berlin, 27.5 million. Southampton are now in the loan offer. Got no interest in loaning him out. So hopefully we get some cash in for him. And now my director of football has gone in and made an offer for Louis Amgar. He's French. It must be Louis. At 60 million, though. We're never going to find out what the mysterious £29 million of optional future fee thing is. But I think for 60, he's our top priority target this summer. So I think we're going to bring him in. We're not going to play him. I mean, we're not going to play him week in, week out as a striker. I'm not going to say I'll never play him as a striker. It is supposedly his natural position. But we're bringing him in primarily to play left back. So he can come in. Can we just try and avoid paying you all the money in the world? There we go. So if he comes in, that uses most of our transfer budget. But obviously, we have also got the Orbeck money that will be coming in as well. So that will give us another, hopefully, 25, 30 million pounds to play with. Bremer has now announced that he's retiring as well, by the way. So that's Locatelli and Bremer both retiring this summer. Locatelli has now agreed to sign a contract upon expiry of his playing contract as under-18s fitness coach. He just doesn't have to move house, bless him. So Locatelli's joining the coaching staff. Bremer has no interest in doing that. He's not got a staff profile. So Bremer will just be retiring. So the two of those leaving does mean that the money that we're going to pay Amgar is more than covered in the wage budget. We're absolutely fine. So let's get Amgar in, get Orbeck out, and then have another look at the squad and figure out where we need to plug gaps. In other news, Gervasio has just made his debut for Italy and is wanted by Real Madrid. So Gervasio, quite acceptable option to slot into the midfield mix. The likes of Gervasio, Graticos, owning. I've got no issue with Locatelli and Bacciarina moving on, because we've got these players who've been on the fringes who are ready to step in and fill those gaps. Who the hell is Vladan Pantic? Get out of here. Have we got anyone in the development centre who we can bring up? No. I mean, brilliant. That is fantastic right there. We'll check again on the 1st of July when loans come back. But youth development, it's what we're all about around here at Juventus. What's happened? Oh, now that's interesting. I mean, I don't want to sell Maggioni. I mean, he played 35 games for us last year. He only started 9 of them, but he came for our youth system. He's only 22. Yeah, he's not got bags of potential, but he is a very useful option for us to have at right back. That being said, we've just signed Taglioli. No, I think we have to keep Maggioni. Homegrown and all that. And Vlahovic, for the 2nd year in a row, has won the European Golden Shoe. Lovely, lovely. Better than Haaland, as I keep telling you. He's frustrated about not being able to move to Liverpool. Why would you want to... I mean, why do you want to go to Liverpool? We've won the Serie... You came for our youth team. You're Italian, and we've won Serie A 2 years in a row. I mean, he's a 3-star player. I'm not that desperate to keep him. I'm not going to beg. So let's just agree a higher fee. If they offer 35 million for you, no. 33 million, no. Okay, 32. So if they offer 32 million for you, you can go to Liverpool, and we'll make do with Inverardi as our homegrown backup right back, who's currently out on loan at Empoli, and he's basically the same player, 2.5-star, 3-star. He can just do the Maggioni role. They are the same. They are the same. So that might be another piece of business that's about to happen. Well, back to QuickBooks Simulator 2023 again for a moment. Not a brand deal, but this is bonkers. This is not how money works. Because we made a profit of £251 million in the last year because we took out a £300 million loan, which inexplicably was then classed as income, we're having to pay a tax bill of £60 million. That was a loan. We're paying it back at £1 million a month. And now we've got to pay £60 million in tax for a loan. That's not how money works. Football Manager, what are you doing to me? Well, this is an unexpected little twist. Liverpool have offered me a job interview. This is Liverpool, who have just won the Premier League and the Champions League. Their manager has retired. Their manager was Stefano Pioli, only the 2nd manager who's managed Liverpool in the entire save so far. I'm not interested in going. I do want to go back to the Premier League and end the career there. I've got my heart set on it being with Preston. I just can't imagine going in and becoming Liverpool manager at this stage of my career. And I think with the amount of money that I've made in game at this point, my career earnings are £22.5 million. I don't think I am in a position where I have to accept any job. I know Liverpool would pay more money than Juventus are paying me. I'm earning £74,000 a week at Juventus. Liverpool will probably offer me £250,000 a week or something ridiculous like that. But I don't want to manage Liverpool. I want to manage Preston, the romance of it. So I'm going to decline the interview, and I am going to hope, I'm going to cross my fingers that Stephen Ferguson, the Preston manager, gets the Liverpool job, because then that opens the door for me. This could set off a managerial merry-go-round this summer. So Liverpool, favourite for the Liverpool job is Graham Potter, who is he's just always one step ahead of me. He was the Barcelona manager before me, but he's since managed Man City, Athletic Club, Napoli and Eintracht Frankfurt, not staying anywhere more than a year since he was Chelsea manager. He did 5 years at Chelsea, then a year at Porto, a year at Barcelona, Man City. Yeah, so he does a year every... I mean, why would Liverpool want a guy who changes jobs every year? But he's the favourite for both the Liverpool and the Chelsea jobs. So with both of those jobs available, Graham Potter can't get both. So all eyes now on Stephen Ferguson at Preston. Because if he moves on, we abandon all plans with Juventus and we go home. So we've hit the 30th of June, which means the first two official new signings have arrived. Obviously, they're both players who are already at the club. Gianmarco Valente joins permanently from Tottenham after his successful loan last season. And Louis Amgar joins permanently from Paris Saint-Germain after his successful loan, albeit we've paid more than we were supposed to pay for him. I think they're both off at the World Cup, though, having a lovely time this summer. So in addition to the retirement causing a bit of a managerial merry-go-round situation, we're going to have another one kick off with the World Cup. As soon as the World Cup is done, you usually get a swathe of manager retirements, resignations, sackings, that kind of thing. So with both Chelsea and Liverpool available and all of those shenanigans still to come, I am starting to feel more and more like this might be the summer that Stephen Ferguson moves on after 4 years. We are keeping a very, very close eye on what's going on at Preston. We're just going to jump forward to the 1st of July as well, because then we've got another new signing arriving in the shape of Taglioli. And then once he's in, we'll have a look at the shape of the squad with the retirements, the players in, the players out, and decide what else we need to go and buy. Spoilers, I think it's probably going to be a centre-back, but we'll have a look. So there is your confirmation of the signing of Federico Taglioli. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential, holding midfielder who can also play anywhere in midfield at the back. Just a useful squad player, not necessarily going to be a starter, but a useful squad player for us, which is exactly what we were looking for after the retirement of Locatelli. We've also confirmed the sale of Orbeck. Also, a couple of fringe players have left the club. And, oh, that's a big offer for Maggioni. How much did we say we'd need for him? 32 million. That's not 32 million. So he's not going anywhere. We have, however, made an offer for Dennis Simon, who weirdly has been released on a free transfer by Barcelona, despite being their regular starting goalkeeper for the last 4 years. Champions League winner, barely missed a game in 4 years. I mean, I don't know what the plan is at Barcelona, but they're goalkeeperless at the moment. So we're going to hopefully bring Dennis Simon into Juventus to be our backup goalkeeper, which will allow us to then sell Marvin Benoit, who is wanted by Barcelona. I don't understand the world. What a load of nonsense. But it is the 1st of July. We've still got a little bit of money knocking around. Let's just have a look at the squad planner and see how we are getting on. So in goal, we've currently got Seco, Benoit, and a useless backup. Obviously, we could be about to add Dennis Simon to that mix as well. Left back, our starting left back is likely to be a coin flip between Amgar and Mansouré. Agostini can play there as well, but is much more likely to be over at right back. And then we've got other options who can play at right back. At right back, Agostini, likely to be the starter. I think that's pretty much his position. Now we've decided Boatini is the man who sits at the base of our midfield. And then as backups, we've got the likes of Amgar and Taglioli who can play there. Maggioni, who might be leaving. Inverardi, who is very similar to Maggioni, and at the moment is likely to be staying because he's just come back from his loan. So one of them will probably leave, one of them will probably stay. I'm likely to sell Maggioni, who's the one I can get 30 million for. At the base of the midfield, it's likely to be Boatini with Taglioli as his backup. And then if we decide to go with a playmaker there, it can be Agostini or Veloso dos Santos. Where we've got further forward, if this is box to box, it can be Owning, it can be Boatini, it can be Taglioli. If it's a playmaker, it can be Veloso dos Santos or Szoboszlai or Gratikos, Gervasio. And then as the more attacking central midfielders, Szoboszlai comes into the mix with Gratikos, Veloso dos Santos. Owning's a natural Mezzala as well. So we've got a few options there. Left wing, Bilger really tends to play on the right because he's a left footer. So you're probably looking at, as a starter, Lazrak or Fabrice, although Amgar and Szoboszlai can play there. Bilger is nailed on to be starter on the right. He's actually twisted his ankle at the World Cup, which is a little bit of a shame. But if Bilger doesn't play, Lazrak can play out there. Ruiz, of course, is a natural winger. And Gratikos and Owning can play out there as well. And then up front, Vlahovic is the best player in the world, so he will continue to start for as long as he continues to score at a goal a game. And deputising him, it can be any one of Bilger, Amgar, Lazrak coming in from whatever other position they were previously playing in. So I think good depth there. The one area where we do have a little bit of a gap is at centre-back. Mansoray, if he's left-back, Agostini, if he's right-back, aren't in this mix. You've then got Sotalo, who's 34, and Valente. Taglioli's a midfielder. Maggioni's a right-back. You've got Kolarich as a youngster, and that's about it. So I think we do need one more centre-back. We've got £24 million to spend, so I think we go and find a centre-back. That's the plan. We're going centre-back shopping. Well, I've struggled a little bit to find a defender that we can actually get for within our budget, but if in doubt, and I want a defender, go to Hertha. So that's what we've done. Luca Genkinger comes in from Hertha Berlin for 24 million, 28 million. He's a centre-back who can also play left-back. He's fine. He's not going to be a regular starter. Certainly not straight away. He's got a little bit of potential to improve, maybe, but he's just come in to be an extra body. Bremer's retired. We needed an extra body to come in and play at the back. So he is in. Someone who's a little bit, arguably, of a more exciting signing. Moise Vlad Paul is a 17-year-old Romanian attacking midfielder who we've been able to pick up for £3.2 million from Cluj. He's only played twice for them, 2 substitute appearances. He's still only 17, turns 18 in September, but he's got 5 stars of potential and has come straight in with that kind of transfer value. So a more exciting signing for us right there. And I think that's us done. Dennis Simon went to Milan, so we weren't able to get him. So if we have a look at our squad depth, I think we're pretty solid. Benoit can carry on as our backup goalkeeper, and that should be fine. We've got decent strength in depth throughout the squad. Lazrak has just won best player at the World Cup. Bilger got injured in Belgium's first group game, so Lazrak has just stepped into that void and ended up winning World Cup best player. Belgium made it all the way to the final, but then lost to Spain in the final, which is much sadness. We could have had a player winning the World Cup there, but if we have a look at the, where are the awards? There we go. Award winners. So there's Lazrak winning best player. Agostini got runner-up on the best player thing, so that's very pleasant. Best goalkeeper went to Seco. We've had a productive World Cup here. We didn't manage to get best young player. That actually went to another Belgian player, a right back who is at Real Madrid. We're not going to be able to steal another Belgian. The dream team, Lazrak obviously making it into the dream team. One of my former boys in the shape of Gavi is in there. Agostini and Seco in that dream team as well. And then if we have a look at the goal of the tournament, it was scored by Agostini. And the golden boot, none of my boys getting anywhere near. Very, very sad that none of my boys got anywhere near that. The Premier League with manager movements. Let's just check the shenanigans that are going on in the Premier League. Liverpool and Chelsea both have new managers. Neither of them are called Graham Potter. So Edin Terzic comes in from Dortmund, and Abel Ferreira, who was at Barcelona previously, did he take over for me at Barcelona? Barcelona really don't seem to be able to keep a manager for very long at all. Yeah, so he is the guy who took over from me. In fact, he got sacked, and Diego Simeone has been there for a year now. They don't have a very good record of keeping managers for a very long time, do they? That is pretty poor from Barcelona. And England have just offered me the job. I don't want to do international management, so I turned them down. And there is still potential managerial merry-go-round stuff. But the key thing is Ferguson is still at Preston and doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Scotland don't need a manager. It's probably unlikely he's going to go and become England manager. So we've got one more year of... should I just offer him a job? Want to come and be my assistant manager at Juventus? No. Well, current compensation for him would have been £19.75 million. Wowzers. No wonder he's not going anywhere. Goodness me. How much are they paying him? Can we go back? Where is he? There you are. Stephen Ferguson. He's earning less than me. Weird. Our money's pretty much all gone. Our squad is pretty much done, I think. So let's have a look how many players we've got in the squad. I think I'm pretty happy with this as a squad. 26 people in the squad. Isela is probably on his way out. We've had a decent offer for him for a loan with a permanent deal attached from Ajax, which would result in them spending about £40 million on him next summer. So I think we're probably just about there, unless we get a crazy big offer for somebody. That should be that. Well, that stings. We've had the silly offer for somebody. Seco, our goalkeeper, looks like he's going to be leaving to go to Manchester City. He wanted to go because our league is not looking good. We're down as the 4th best league, and we have got players who are just desperate to leave to go to the Premier League. It is bonkers. They offered 33 million. I thought we'd be fine. I did the thing where you agree a price for him. We agreed 72 million. Went back to Man City with that. They've immediately said yes. So we have to accept it. It now is stinging even more that we didn't manage to bring in Dennis Simon, because he would be the perfect replacement in this situation. I'm looking at Benoit and wondering if he's good enough. Or are we going to have to go out and buy a proper goalkeeper? I mean, he's a better shot stopper, better physically. His distribution's not quite so good. He's not quite so good in the air because he's a little shorter. He's less... No, he's more eccentric. Oh, good. Not quite so good communication or mental. So, I mean, it's not a massive difference between the two of them, to be honest. Except Benoit's much more eccentric, which I could really do without. I mean, we do have 100% retained transfer revenue, but we know how difficult it is to find goalkeepers in this world. Goalkeepers, who have we got? Who we could? I mean, no one who's any good. We have to ignore this under 23 thing, I think, and just push that out a little bit further. Who would be a good goalkeeper? I mean, Dennis Simon would have been the one. That is infuriating. What has my director of football got for me? I mean, there's this guy who he's at Middlesbrough and he's already got 1 England cap. But he's no better than Benoit. He is going to get better, but of course he's a non-EU player, which is not ideal for us. And then there's this guy who is at Chelsea, who's Bulgaria's goalkeeper, but again, probably not any better than Benoit. This is problematic. So Seco has gone to Manchester City for £72 million. I am still very bitter about it, but we've acted quickly to replace him. Kellen Madison, who we looked at before and ruled out because he was English. We've discovered an Irish grandparent, so he is EU nationality, so we've brought him in. He's cost us £32 million for a wonder kid goalkeeper. He's already got 1 cap for England at 6'2". He's never played... I tell a lie. He's played half a season in the Premier League for Middlesbrough and then the full season in the Championship for them last season. I think that's a pretty decent pickup as a goalkeeper between him and Benoit. We will work out fairly early on, I imagine, who our best option is. In fact, if we do a comparison between the two of them, at the moment, Benoit seems significantly better. But Madison is a wonder kid. He's a youngster. He's only 20 years old. He's got 5-star potential. So he is very much one for the future. And of course, the other thing about selling Seco means there is money to spend, and we are trying to spend it. I've sent my director of football after 3 players, 2 bargains, and someone extravagant we probably can't afford. But this guy, Lebagang Theory, is a South African defensive midfielder. I'm always a little bit wary of these really cheap players from African clubs because generally they come through not scouted as well as they're supposed to be scouted. But we've got extensive scouting knowledge on it, which is up to date as of 2 days ago. And that says he's as good as Boatini. And for 650,000, with Locatelli having just retired and him being a natural deep lying playmaker, seems like a no-brainer. So hopefully he comes in. We've also got Alfonso Mendes, who is a left wing back, obviously can play left back as well. He's got 16 tackling. There's no reason why he can't play left back. So that would free Amgar up to play right back or maybe even further forward on the wing, up front on occasion. He's out of contract at the end of the season, so he's available for £4.3 million. Those two would then be my 2 non-EU signings of the summer. And if there's any way to do it, and I don't know that there is, Alban Campos would be a lovely option as a striker, mainly because he's got 18 acceleration and 17 finishing. And those 2 things combine equal goals as far as I'm concerned. But we have got Bilger, Vlahovic, Lazrak, Amgar, who can all play centre forward. So we don't need this guy at all. Obviously, if some money presents itself, it'd be nice to get him. But we've got the main man. We've got a goalkeeper in. We've just got to work out who our best goalkeeper is now. And hopefully these two non-EU bargains appear as well. it's a little bit worrying when I've sent my director of football to go and do this business, because you don't get the option to say yes or no to the players. So if Campos agrees to join first and my director of football believes there's a way to get that through the books, he'll just appear, and then we potentially ridiculously won't be able to afford these two, despite the fact they're bargains. So I kind of want them to go in the order that I've asked for them. And I mean, really, if we go and have a look at the director of football transfer targets, I did add them to the list in the order that I wanted them as well. But from here, it's out of my control. The reason I'm getting the director of football to do my business for me is because I am determined not to cause transfer problems. We've actually got, when it has transfer debt, no, in fact, I think that does mean we've got £9 million of a transfer debt, but none of it's my fault, because my director of football is arranging all my transfers for me. I'm just telling them the players that I want, and they're going and signing them for whatever price they think they should pay for them. So to me, that means no financial problems can be my fault. We are actually running at a net transfer profit this summer, thanks to the very expensive sale of Seco. Obviously, if we get these two cheaper players in as well, there's the potential to move some others on. So let's see how this pans out. I did think we were finished. Turns out we're making loads more transfers. You've watched my transfer specials before, presumably. You always knew that was going to happen. Well, there we go. Well, there we go. Lebergang Theory is in and is as good as he was advertised to be. He's a 3.5-star player. So that's unexpected. Apparently, we're now overloaded in the squad for defensive midfield players, which I imagine is probably fair. Agostini obviously won't play there anymore. Taglioli has just signed. Veloso dos Santos won't play there. To be fair, we've got 3 options, and they're different types of player, and they can play in different positions as well. I'm pretty comfortable. That seems fine to me as a set of midfield players. I am not going to worry too much about that at all. Oh, we're getting Mendes as well. Oh, what a time to be alive. Look at us go. I really don't think we're going to get the striker now, but we don't need the striker either. So that's fine. So Alfonso Mendes, an attacking fullback, we immediately need to get him training to play left back as a wing back on attack. Yes, we'll do his individual training. So get him comfortable playing as an out-and-out left back for us. And we've now got lots of players who can play left back as well. So Amgar Mansouré can now officially just become a centre back again. The only problem is we've got a lot of left-footed centre backs now. Mansouré is left-footed. The new guy Genkinga is left-footed. Valente is left-footed. So yeah, all of our centre backs are basically left-footed. Is Satalo's right-footed, I think, but he's the only right-footed centre back we've got. So that's not ideal, but I'm not really upset about it. Yeah, this is getting ridiculous now. It's transfer deadline day, and now Arsenal have come in for Marvin Benoit. He's played 1 game for us. We need to persuade him to stay. I want to play in a better division. Yeah, everyone does. I've got no intention of letting you go. I want to win the Champions League. Yes, we're going to win the Champions League. There you go. He's happy to stay. That's dealt with that problem. Goodness me. Boatini, Leipzig want him. They're not having him. Yeah, so it is deadline day. We've got £28 million to spend. We don't really have any money to spend. We haven't done anything more since I last showed you what was going on, other than play our first game of the season, which we won 4-0. So that was a nice moment. But now we're just trying to get through deadline day without selling anybody else, please. Please. And with that, we have made it to the end of the transfer window, only losing Seco in the end. It remains to be seen whether we've adequately replaced him with Benoit and Maddison. Also bringing in Mendes, Taglioli, Theory as well. A few decent options in. £91 million spent, £98 million out means for the first time in a gazillion years, we've actually had a net transfer profit in a transfer window. Goodness me, I really am taking this finance stuff seriously now. What a ridiculous situation we've got ourselves in. But we do have a very strong squad. I am confident for the season ahead. Worryingly, as part of Seco leaving, he said he wanted to play. He said he wanted to win the Champions League, and there was no option for me to tell him that we would win it. You've seen we were able to do it with Benoit, so hopefully our reputation has increased accordingly. But with Seco, it was very much a case of, oh, we might be able to in a few years. We're winning it this year. We are absolutely winning it this year because then I want to go home. Although Stephen Ferguson's still, he's going to be there forever, isn't he? Absolutely. Get out of my football club. I've got things to do. But we will continue with this team tomorrow. We have had our Champions League draw, so we are going to be playing Spurs in the Champions League again, and Arsenal. That's going to be fun. That'll be a double-header episode, I imagine, playing those. Oh, and Manchester United and Manchester City. What on earth? Well, Champions League's going to be interesting this season. We're going to win it, aren't we? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.